everyone. We are going to study the properties of colloid, that is in the fifth chapter of your textbook. The heading of the chapter is a surface chemistry. In that, today we will go for the properties of colloids. The first property which I have written here is a colligative properties. In the chapter of solutions, we have studied 4 colligative properties. The first one is the lowering of vapor pressure, then the second is elevation of boiling point, then depression in freezing point, and then osmotic pressure. Here also same colligative properties we can apply to the colloid, but the difference is, in a true solution, we know that the particles are very small in size, so that we cannot see them. But in colloid, the particles are comparatively larger in size. Why? Because they are the bigger aggregates. Clear? And that is why due to bigger size, the colligative properties, any of the one or all 4 colligative properties, if we measure for the colloidal solution, then we will have comparatively smaller values, even though the concentration of the true solution and the colloidal solution is the same. Then also, compared to the true solution, all the 4 colligative properties will give us smaller values for the colloidal solution. The reason is difference in the size. In colloid, the molecules or the colloidal particles, they are bigger aggregates, and that's why they are bigger in size compared to the particles of a true solution. Clear? So you can be asked that though the colloidal solution and the true solution have same concentration, but the values of all 4 colligative properties measured for colloidal solution are smaller. Clear? So that type of question can be asked. Then we will go for the second property, which is very important property. Actually, this property is also called optical property of colloid. Here the name given is a Tyndall effect. Clear? Okay. First of all, we'll try to understand what is meant by Tyndall effect. Suppose we have a homogeneous solution. For example, the sugar solution, homogeneous solution. It is a true solution. When this solution is taken in a glass vessel and if it is kept in dark, and if the light is passed through, or if the light is focused on this true solution, the homogeneous solution. Now if we see the solution in the direction of the light, then the solution will appear clear or transparent. But if we observe the solution from the direction which is perpendicular to the light, then this solution will appear perfectly dark. But suppose we take the colloidal solution. Now here I need not explain you what is colloidal solution. Here in this type of solution, the particles are moving throughout, they remain suspended. Clear? In the dispersion medium. So suppose we are having colloidal solution, and this solution is also taken in a glass vessel. It is kept in a dark, and when the light is focused like this, clear? This is the light source. When the light is focused, now after coming out of this lens, that will be focused on the colloidal solution. Clear? So now what will happen, if we see in the direction of the light, if we see this colloidal solution in the direction of the light, then it will also appear reasonably transparent or clear or translucent. Clear? Like the true solution. But if we observe from the direction at right angles to the light which is passing through or which is focused on the colloidal solution, then there are mild to stronger opalescent behavior is observed. It means that the path of the light, see, this is the path of the beam of the light. Clear? It gets illuminated. It appears blue in color. Now why it is so? Because here in the colloidal solution the particles are comparatively bigger in size, so they can scatter the light. Clear? So due to the scattering of the light, clear, by the colloidal particles, the solution will appear, or the path of the light, the beam of the light, it will appear blue in color. So now here you can see this type of cone is obtained. So this cone or this illuminated path of the light is known as Tyndall effect. Why it is called Tyndall effect? Because this type of illumination of the path of the light was first observed by scientist Faraday, but afterwards it was studied in detail by scientist Tyndall, and that is why it is known as Tyndall effect. So Tyndall effects explains the optical property of colloidal solution, and this type of cone which is obtained, clear, it is called Tyndall cone. Got it? Now this type of behavior, this type of property we are also familiar with. For example, when we go to the cinema hall and when the by the projection, when there is a projection of the picture, and if you see the light which is coming from the projector directly on the screen, then that beam of light, in that beam of light we can see very small particles, dust particles or the small smoke particles, and these particles can scatter the light. Similarly, when we are driving our vehicle in the night and when we have our headlight on, clear, then you can see that in front of the headlight, clear, there is a light, there is a beam of light that we can see, and in that beam of light small insects or the dust particles are observed, so they can scatter the light. Similarly, if there is a dark room and if there is a small hole in the roof, and if the sunlight is coming through that hole, then you can also see that though the whole room is dark, but only that path of light, it gets illuminated. It is in the form of a cone, the shape of the cone, clear, and that is why it is called Tyndall effect. So here also the dust particles or the smoke particles or the smaller insects which are present in the air, they can scatter the light, and that is why we can also observe Tyndall effect in the air. Clear? Now, in order to have Tyndall effect, the colloidal solution must satisfy two conditions. The first condition is diameter of the dispersed particle should not be much smaller than the wavelength of the light. Clear? The wavelength of the light that we are using, clear, in order to focus the colloidal solution, the diameter of the dispersed particles, clear, the particles of the dispersed phase which are present in the dispersion medium. So the diameter of this dispersed particle should not be much smaller than the wavelength of the light that is used. Clear? This is the first condition. Second condition is refractive indices of dispersed phase and dispersion medium. They must differ greatly in magnitude. That should be difference in the refractive indices of the dispersed phase and the dispersion medium. Then only we can observe Tyndall effect. Clear? So this is very important property. Generally it is asked in 3 marks questions or 2 marks questions. Diagram is compulsory, and you can be asked in 1 or 2 marks question that what are the conditions required for Tyndall effect. Then you have to write only the conditions. Here in short I have written DP means dispersed phase and DM means dispersion medium, but you cannot write like this in exam. Clear? Okay. Then the third property is about the color of the colloid. Clear? Now this is again important property. Color of the colloid depends on the wavelength of the light scattered by particles. Clear? So after scattering of the light by this particle, whatever scattered light we observe, clear, on the wavelength of that scattered light by the particles, the color of the colloid depends. Clear? We also know that suppose we have a blue color solution Blue color solution means when the visible light falls on, see, copper sulfate solution, it is blue in color. Why it is blue in color? Clear? So when the visible light falls on the copper sulfate solution, then all the wavelengths present in that visible light, they are absorbed by that blue solution, but the blue color wavelength is not absorbed, and that is why their solution appears blue. Similarly, here also the color of the colloidal solution depends on the wavelength of the light scattered by the particles. Clear? Now this wavelength lambda, it depends on the size and the nature of the colloid, size of the colloidal particle and nature of the colloid, what type of colloid we have. See, in the classification of colloid, we have studied different types of colloids. Clear? So it depends on the nature of colloid and as well as the size of the particle. Okay, now this color also depends on the manner in which the observer receives the light. Clear? For example, I am the observer. Now I have the milk and water, that is again a colloid. Clear? That in a glass vessel. Clear? Now, if this milk water mixture is observed by the reflected light, then it will appear blue in color. But if it is observed by transmitted light, then it will appear red in color. So the color of the colloid also depends on the manner in which the observer receives the light. Clear? If the observer receives reflected light, then this mixture will appear blue. If the observer receives transmitted light, then it will appear red. Similarly, gold sol. Clear? The preparation of gold sol we have studied. It is by Bredig arc method. Clear? So gold sol, it is red in color. Particle size increases. Clear? The particle size, here the gold, very fine gold particles, they aggregate. Clear? And that is why they get converted into the bigger size particle, and these particles are of colloidal size. Clear? So if the size of the gold sol particle increases, then there will be change in the color of the sol. For example, when the size increases, then the gold sol, which initially appears red, now it will appear blue. Clear? Then purple, then it will appear blue, and finally it will appear golden. Clear? So it depends on the size of the particle also. Now again, the fourth important property, that is Brownian movement. Clear? This is called mechanical property. See, here I will write so that you can also remember. Brownian effect is a mechanical property of colloid. Clear? It is mechanical property. This property is an optical property. Optical property of colloid. Clear? Okay. So now here you can see Brownian movement. It was observed by British botanist Robert Brown, and so after the name of that scientist, that botanist, it is given name Brownian movement. Now what is this movement? Okay, now one more thing here I forgot to tell you, that in case of Tyndall effect, what is the importance of this effect? This effect is used in the construction of ultra microscope. Clear? But with the help of ultra microscope, we can see the color of the light, or when the ultra microscope like this is used, then the colloidal particle which are present here, see, I told you that in a Tyndall effect, this colloid will appear blue in color. Clear? So blue color cone, Tyndall cone is observed. Now the particles which are present in this Tyndall cone, they will appear like a bright stars. Clear? But here the limitation of this ultra microscope is that it cannot give us the exact idea about the size and shape of the colloidal particles. It can give only the information about the light which is visible after it is scattered. Clear? But it cannot give us any information regarding the size and the shape of colloidal particles. Clear? Okay. So here the concept Tyndall effect is used in the construction of ultra microscope. Now with the help of ultra microscope we can observe Brownian movement. Means when the colloidal solution is taken or colloidal sol is taken in a glass vessel, and when it is observed by ultra microscope, then see these black dots, they are colloidal particles, clear, and they are in continuous zigzag motion. This motion is known as Brownian motion, or it is called Brownian movement, clear. Now why these particles are in continuous motion? It is due to the unbalanced bombardment of these particles by the molecules of dispersion medium, clear. Here colloidal sol means it is the mixture of dispersed phase and dispersion medium. Now when the dispersed phase particles, they are continuously bombarded by the molecules of dispersion medium, then the particles of dispersed phase, clear, here it is called solute. So the particles of dispersed phase, they will move continuously in this type of zigzag manner, clear. So this type of zigzag motion of the particles of colloidal sol is known as Brownian movement, or it is called Brownian motion, clear. So why this, what is responsible for this motion? It is the continuous bombardment of these particles by the molecules of dispersion medium. Now what is the importance? See, this Brownian movement, it is independent of the nature of colloid. It doesn't depend on the nature, whether the colloid is lyophilic or lyophobic, or it is aerosol, or it is gel, or whatever type of colloid is there. But it is the Brownian movement is independent of the nature of the colloid. But it depends on the size of the particles. Clear? Particle means which particles? The particles of dispersed phase. So it depends on the size of particles and viscosity of dispersion medium. If the size of the particle is small, means the dispersed phase particles are smaller in size and the viscosity of the dispersion medium is less, then the Brownian movement will be faster. Clear? Once again, smaller is the size of particle and less is the viscosity of dispersion medium, faster will be the Brownian movement. Now what is the importance of this movement? It stabilizes the colloid. Stabilizes in the sense when the colloidal particles, when the particles of the dispersed phase, if they settle down, then the colloid gets destroyed. Clear? Unless and until, means so long as these colloidal particles remain in motion, it means that that colloid is stable. Clear? So here the Brownian movement is like a stirring effect. Clear? For example, if we stir salt or sugar in water, continuously if we stir, then it will dissolve. But before dissolution, that sugar or salt particles, they cannot settle down. Clear? Similarly here also, Brownian movement keeps the colloid particles in continuous motion, and that's why it doesn't allow them to settle down. And if they don't settle down, it means that colloid is stable. So this Brownian movement stabilizes the colloid. This is very important factor. Clear? This is very important, we can say, the application of Brownian movement. So with this we have covered 4 properties of colloids. Still there are more. Clear? The charge on the colloidal particle, and after that we studied electrophoresis, that is called the electrical property of the colloidal particle. Clear? So we will discuss that part in the next lecture. So this is all for today. If you have any doubt, you can ask me on my personal ID. Have a nice time. Good day.